Have you ever wondered what it'd be like to put a watch together for yourself? Did you think that it's really complicated or that maybe it's really expensive, it's not something you can afford? Here I've got a Rolex style watch that I put together myself, and in putting it together I decided to create a video on this because this cost me about $100 for all the parts I needed. It's not very hard, it's fun to do. You can buy all the parts, all the tools you need, and everything to get started for about $110. In this video, I'm going to go through putting together a Seiko style watch that I wanted to have for a while. I've ordered all the parts. Hopefully they're all here. Let's get started. Let's go. How's it going, folks? My name is Marcus. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here on this channel, I like to talk about technology, EDC, and anything that can help me live a happier, balanced, more productive life. Today I'm talking about watches. For people who've watched this channel before, you know that I like to make all of my EDC my own, whether it be inscribing things or dirtying things up or just really using things with my pocket knives. In terms of my daily driver, I usually wear a Rolex Submariner. I bought this in 2010, and while I absolutely adore this watch, and I really do love it, I'm not really a watch guy. There are not other premium watches I crave after. This is the only kind of premium watch I think I will probably ever buy in my life. We'll see. Never say never. But there are other watches that I like the style of. And this video is about creating a watch for myself that will be valuable to me, but not super valuable to other people. Like, nobody's going to want to try and steal this from my wrist, but it will be something I'll be proud of. This last 2 weeks since I've had this watch on my wrist that I made myself, I've been so excited about having it on. People admire it, people ask what is it, and I love being able to say this is a watch that I made myself, and you can't buy a watch like this anywhere else in the world. So let's get started on how I'm doing it, where I got all my parts. All the parts will be linked in the description below. I'm going to try and do this as a step-by-step type guide, but this is only my second time ever doing this, so I'm probably going to get parts of it wrong, so bear with me. All right, let's get stuck in. So first and foremost, let's open all the packages that arrived. I went on, I ordered everything at once, so let's go through everything I got for about $110 this week. First off is this little cushion that I'm going to work on. Everybody uses them. It's got this little dimple in the middle, and it means that I can put the watch movement in there, and I can put, as I'm working on putting on the face and the hands and things like that, I've got a nice, clean, safe place to do it. I've also got this little air blower that you get with those camera lenses for cleaning things off. It's really important to keep things clean while you're doing this. So this is the watch face that I'm going to be using today. It does say Seiko on it. I actually didn't know it was going to say Seiko. I thought it would just be a fake. But this is going to be the face that I'm using. So this is gasket lube. So it's important that you lube your gaskets to keep them moist when you're working on these things. Another thing that's important is your hands. You have a lot of oils and moisture on your hands and things that you don't want to get on these parts because they'll corrode. So it's important to get some of these little finger socks that you put on your index finger and thumb and even second finger. I like it on my second finger as well, just so you're actually not touching any of the components yourself as you go through it. I'd recommend getting a tweezers. Picking up the watch hands is almost impossible. So having something that you can lay flat and pick up and put down, hopefully this is a bit of a game changer for me. Other tools that I recommend you get, there's lots of these. Again, they'll be linked in the description, but these are the different tools you use to push down the washed face, that when you're, when you want to press it into place, there's different size tools. I ended up using this one the most last time, this silver one. We'll see this time around. I think you just have to feel as you go. But here's the last tool that you need. You're going to need one of these little rubber balls that's not inflated. They don't come inflated. I'm going to go inflate that now like this. That's better. So this ball is used for when you've got the watch case, when you want to be able to open it and close it. You use that to just press on it and twist it. You get some friction. Essential bit of kit. Okay, let's open some of these boxes. First things up, we got these. These are our watch hands. I think I bought a couple of different sets of watch hands to give us options. Our watch strap. I've gone for kind of just a classic, just standard rubber black watch on this one. Instead of having it links, I'm going after a classic Seiko style for this one. There are some other hands that I have, some other options. We'll open those in a minute. There we go. Look at this. Oh, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful, but we're missing the movement, aren't we? Where's the movement? There we go. That's what the movement looks like. So that's the mechanics that power the watch. Okay, so you stick these on. I'm not going to make any fun of what these look like. Washing glove fingers. This is the NH35. The one I have here has got a complication, they call it in watch terms. So this will have a date. So it will be a date version of this Seiko. The face of the watch that I've bought, this Seiko replica face, it does have a cutout for the date. So when I slot it in, it should all just work. First of all, we need to be able to put our face on, and then we'll figure out the complications, because we want to be able to make sure that our date changes at midnight. So that we need to set this up in a way to make sure the date changes at midnight. So when we put our watch hands on, we'll put them on at the 12 o'clock slot, and we'll know that everything's lined up and everything's working. There's 3 different pins on this face on each side, so there's 6 pins total, but there's only a space in the movement for 1 on each side, so 2 total. So we're going to have to figure out which are the redundant ones by just placing it on and having a look, and then getting rid of the ones that we don't need. So it looks like the top one there is the one we need, and the bottom one there. So the top and the bottom. Okay, I was able to just gently twist that off. Those are super gently on there, so I want to be careful with the ones keeping the ones I actually need. All these little parts you're taking off, keep them all in the same spot. Make sure you gather them up and put them in the trash so they don't end up in the inner workings of your new awesome watch. Okay, everything seems to be going okay. Let's use our little, make sure we're keeping everything dust free. See this little bit of dust? Get off of there. You will ruin things later. Okay. Try again. So, okay, we've got the watch face on. So now the next thing for us to do is to figure out where midnight is, because we need to be able to, the watch hands to turn to midnight. We're going to be putting our watch hands on next. So as soon as it clicks into place, then it's at midnight. So we're going to go real slow, midnight. I'm going to push that back in. So now we got to figure out which watch hands do we want to use, which ones are going to look the most classic on this. And changing out the watch hands on a watch later is not something you want to be doing, so let's try and get this right. So we're going to take the hour hand first. We're going to slip it over. And I like to do it at a slightly jaunty angle. Pick it up and plop it on. Okay. Now, once you have that on, you don't want to push too hard, but you want to take one of these tools. You can see the end of this tool. It's basically just an aluminum rod with, I don't know if you can see in the end, but it's just basically got a little hole in the end of it, which is hopefully the same size as the thing you're pushing it onto. Last time, this was the size I used, and it worked great. But you just have to kind of feel it and see how it goes. It seems okay. There was a click there, definitely a satisfying little click. You want to check it from the side. Feels okay. One little small. Okay, so there's our hour hand on. Now, let's go for the minute hand. And that looks okay as well. Now the hardest part. This is where I failed last time. Honestly, on the watch I made last time, I pushed so hard, or I tried so many times with it, I actually ultimately gave up. I think I broke the mechanism and I wasn't able to get the second hand on. This is really about, there's a little pin. On the second hand, there's a pin and it needs to drop in a hole perfectly, and you just don't want to push it too hard. No way, it's ticking. Look at that. Okay, so the next part in the build is we're going to move that gently over there, and we're going to focus on this beautiful, look at this classic Seiko case. This is where our little ball comes in. Look at that. Give it a little twist. It sticks to it and it opens the back up. Now there's going to be little O-rings in here if there's any chance of it being water resistant. Yes. So there's the back case. Is there an O-ring in there? See the O-ring in there? You want to just be careful of that. You're going to want to take that out and lube it up before you put it all back in again. Let's do that now so we don't forget, but let's remember where the O-ring is. The O-ring sits right in that, I see where it sits, right in that seal. Is there anything else in there? No. Let's give everything a blowout and a clean. So let's put our watch face back on our mat. And the way you do this is, first of all, we want to take our crown off. So you just screw it out. Super easy. We're going to be attaching that to the crown that came with the movement. The next bit's a little tricky. So what we want to do is we need to take out the existing movement that's in this piece. And the way you do that is you flip it over, and this is going to be minute scale. So when you push in the crown, there's this little tiny dent here. See this dent? You want to push that dent down, and what that does is releases this mechanism. Now it's quite tricky to do one-handed, but I'm going to show off my skills here and press down with this as I pull on the other side, and that just released it there. You saw the tension came off, and you can pull out the crown rod like that. Give everything one last clean before it goes away. Clean out our case. Let's put it face down to start. I know that's not what you're supposed to do, but it's going to help me. Then I'll know that north, that's exactly 12 o'clock up there. Okay, that is now set up properly. Let's do our lubing, our O-ring lubing. And drop that back in. So there's a little groove you want to try and just push it into. Okay. And now, okay, we've got our O-ring on. Maybe that was premature. Actually, if you're doing it, do the crown rod first, the bit I'm doing now, before you do the O-ring lube, because I don't want you to get the lube all over the movement, like I'm probably going to do. So, okay, next step. We need to, this little crown we cut off, let's move that aside for a while. That crown we need to put with the movement. When we bought the movement, we got a rod with it. Now, if we put that crown rod, what you do here is you take the rod you got with the movement and you put the crown that you bought with the case onto the end of it. It's a very small threaded rod, and you just carefully thread it on without bending it. This is the crown rod that came with the piece. And the one we have, and this was already sticking out low, it didn't push in fully. This is the one we have. It's even longer. So when we put this in, let's just have a little look, just to show how long it would be if we didn't trim it. We're going to look at this. If we just put in that crown rod, it slots in through the hole into the body. You just kind of click it in. You can hear the piece clicking now, so it's working. There's your clicks. And that's how far in it would be. So that's not a very handy watch to have. That doesn't really work. So we need to figure out how much to trim from this. And to do that, we're going to use our trusty Fend Mr. Vernier calipers. We're going to look at this, and we're going to want to trim off about 5 millimeters off the end of that rod if it goes all the way in. I think we want to trim about 5 millimeters off. So let's take that back out. Now we want to cut 5 millimeters off. The end you want to cut it off, obviously, is not the bit that does all the good stuff. You want to cut it off the threaded end. So we're going to want to measure 5 millimeters. So I'm going to try to do 4 mil first. Like, let's do this a couple of times. Let's cut off too little and have to go back rather than too much. There's a little Sharpie mark right there. So I'm going to cut, including the Sharpie mark, using this very delicate instrument here, which is specifically made for watch cutting, for watch work. I'm going to do it over the side here so it doesn't end up in the watch. Ended up over there by my record player, which is a much safer place for it. So we're going to get a little bit of sandpaper. We're just going to, again, away from the watch, we're just going to take some of the edges off that so that it screws back in. That looks reasonably clean as a cut. Let's see how it screws on. Go on, go first time. Be kind to me. Wunderbar. I'm going to put that in. So it's still not enough to get it to close. There's still another couple of millimeters in it, see that? So let's see what's left. And we'll tighten it all down. Okay, let's put the back on. This is going to be a closed back. The last watch I made was an open back. I really like the open back just because you can just see the inner workings of the watch. It's just very cool. It's kind of a classic Rolex style Datejust. But this one's going to be a different style. It's going to be a Seiko. So let's get that twisted and the righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Okay, now we just got to put the strap on. But this is going to be such a beautiful watch. So here's the strap. I've got kind of a classic rubber strap that used to go with these Seikos. So this is going to be easy. With it also, I got one of these tools for famous last words. But I got one of these tools. It's got this little hook for taking off, for opening watch straps. That one just pinged off into the distance. This strap doesn't fit. After all that, does it fit? No, this strap doesn't fit. Failed on the strap front. These are straps sent to me by Artem Strap. I did get them for free. These are very fancy straps. They're made out of, I think they're made out of sails. Yacht sails, so they're for your Rolex typically, but thank you Artem for sending these through. Oh, that is good. Look at that. Let's see it then. Oh man, I love it. I love it. I'm going to have to fix that secondhand, but oh, I love it. Look at that. I mean, look at that for just a classic timepiece. Look at that. You can build one of these yourself for $100 on AliExpress. So that's my best attempt at doing this in the time that I have dedicated for this video. I spent $100 on parts to get all of these together, including all the tools I used, with the exception of things like the pocket knife, obviously, and the calipers. I had those around. If you don't have calipers, it's not necessary. You can just eyeball it. I was just being pedantic. But you can make your own watch. You can make your own classic Seiko watch or a Rolex, or honestly, this, which is my entirely bespoke timepiece I've made for myself, which has got a face I've never seen before. You can see the movement on the inside. Definitely a head turner. People assume it's an expensive watch when they see it on your wrist. People admire it and compliment you on it all the time, and you don't have to tell them that you spent $100 on making it yourself. But I actually found telling people when I say, oh, no, I made it myself. It's a head turner, it's a conversation starter, and people are blown away. But you also feel very personally connected to these things. You want to take care of it. If you bought a watch for $100, you know, if it was a Casio or a G-Shock or something like that, you might love it, but it's not something that you're going to feel like a personal sense of connection to. These watches are powered by you. They work when you wear them on your wrist, and you made it yourself. So if you're interested in trying one of these things, I'd encourage you to try it if you can afford to put $100 into something. For those of you who do make watches or understand how the kind of ins and outs of these watches, what are some of the big boo-boos and errors I made? How might I be able to do it better next time? I think this might be something I do, make some of these watches, you know, throughout the rest of this year. It's certainly very affordable, and I'm really enjoying the outcome and having these on my wrist. So I'd like to get better at doing it. What are the things I did wrong? What could I do better? And what videos or advice would you give me to make sure I get better at this craft? All right, hope you enjoyed the video. Good luck. Bye.